Testing, testing. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Oh, okay. Is it working now? Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. Let's hope it continues to work. And I guess that's fulfilled today's quotient of scuff, hopefully, because it ain't a Dungeon Lounge stream without some scuff going on. Um, so yes, hello, welcome to Tuesday afternoon or whenever you're watching this. Um, my name's Sasha. I am one of the four friendly monsters of the Dungeon Lounge. And today is my rambling stream. Uh, Today we're going to do Doctor Who. As usual, this is all my opinion. I am not, I do not hold anybody else's opinions against them, so feel free to like or dislike as you will. Um, I am a pretty big Whovian, uh, but uh, Doctor Who is a very, very large universe. Lots of stuff going on. Um, and there's a lot to cover. I probably won't even get to a lot of it today. I will do my best. Um, and yeah, so, uh, yes. Doctor Who. Where to start? Let us start at the beginning. This is the Doctor. Uh, and you might see there's five of them, but they're the same character. So how does that work? Well, the Doctor is an alien. The Doctor is from a planet called Gallifrey, uh, and he is, or she, is a Time Lord. Um, there's a lot at work about Time Lords, but the basic gist of it is that uh, they're super highly advanced. Um, they have amazing technology, um, and they've done a lot of things. um, but the one of their main abilities is called regeneration. So, how can all those five people be the same character? Well, the Doctor has regenerated many times. Um, and uh, Gender is not a thing. They don't really care. They're so advanced, they're so beyond petty markings of gender that the Doctor will do what they want. Regeneration is kind of an uncontrolled skill, but when they learn, when they become a Time Lord. Uh, there is a difference between Gallifreyans and Time Lords. Time Lords are basically kind of like, I guess you could call them an ascended Gallifreyan, in that they get a specialized education. They get they get access to technology that that any random Gallifreyan would not, and they gain the ability to regenerate. Um, it's really neat. Uh, there used to be canon about regeneration, but as Doctor Who has been on for, I guess you could say, almost 40 to 60 years? I don't know. Um, it has changed and changed a lot. Uh, oh, thanks for the follow, Zbomb Gaming. Welcome. Welcome to the Dungeon Lounge. Um, I'm Sasha. I am one of four friendly monsters in the Dungeon Lounge. Um, we uh, we stream a variety of games throughout the week, and usually on Sundays we do some form of tabletop gaming. So please feel free to tune in whenever you like, and I'm sure you'll find some stuff that interests you. Uh, anyway, so back to Doctor Who. The show was actually created as as an educational show, and just let me get the date for you. Yes, so it was created in 1963. Uh, one of the producers, a Canadian actually, so that's really cool, came up with the idea yes, it was created as an educational show. The premise was that the Doctor was a time traveler, and so he could go to anywhere in time and space, and that the Doctor's adventures would sort of be a vector for teaching kids about different times and events in history, and we'd all learn it through what the Doctor and their companions do. Um, so it started with educational intentions, and I do believe that some of that has carried through even to the present. Um, it it does make an effort to portray things at least somewhat accurately. They do love to toss facts at people, and such. But as the show has evolved, I'd say it's more become a morality examination. They examine the different morality of events in history, and how things turned out and why they turned out that way. So uh, they still do a lot of really neat historical events. They speculate on why something might have happened or how something might have happened, but being that it's a sci-fi type show, and I guess you could say with some space operatic elements, they do add a whole bunch of drama and some really interesting twists to actual historical events as well. Um, and some of their best episodes were when they speculated on actual historical events. So, and they just added their own Doctor Who twist to it. Um, and I also find it interesting that two of my favorite universes, Warhammer 40,000 and Doctor Who, can be so opposite, and I'll get into that, but come from the same place. I think there's a lot to be said for that. In that Warhammer 40,000 is basically ultra violence and every way of making that happen. Um, and Doctor Who is also a big examination into pacifism, uh, which I'll also get into. Um, so it's very neat that two completely different universes can come from the same place. Um, I think it shows how people can think very differently. Um, but yeah, so getting back to Doctor Who, the Doctor, as well as regenerating their appearance, also tends to change in personality and character. And it's very neat how the show kind of um, came up with that mechanism. I'd say it's out of practicality as much as anything else because um, once an actor has kind of decided they want to move on from the role, but the show became so popular that the BBC decided to keep it going, and so the way they got around that was regeneration. So basically, what happens is the doctor will, and I'm using air quotes here, the doctor will die, but not really die. Um, they will turn into another person, but still be the same person. Um, but they'll have a different appearance, different character. They might have a different accent, um, but they're still the same character. Um, so yeah, that's how you can have all five of those people being the same character, and even more, because there's some there's some doubt as to the number of doctors that have existed, but um, because of some plot vaguishness, is that a word? It is a word now. Um, but there's either been 13 or 14 or 15 doctors. It is a word now, so that's good. Yes. Uh, Depending on how you count certain doctors. So, um, the doctor to the very left of the picture is the ninth doctor. Uh, I kind of describe him as like a very kind of hawkish. He's very grumpy, but he's also very friendly. He's one of those once you get to know him people. The doctor to the right of him is the 10th doctor, and he's very bubbly, friendly, but with a super dark side. Um, and I don't know why this picture didn't put them in order, but the the doctor, the yellow one is the 13th doctor. Um, she's very bouncy, but in a different way, bubbly. Um, and then to the right of her, the pink doctor is the 11th doctor. He uh, he was a bit like a house cat. He was kind of all over the place. Very, very neat though. Very interesting. And then the doctor to the right, the blue one, is the 12th doctor. He was also very grumpy, very hawkish, but they were all very fun to hang out with. Uh, the whole point of the doctor is they're alone. They've been alone their whole lives, life slash lives. I guess you could say that. They've seen a lot, they've done a lot, and it's actually canon in the Doctor's history that they were a soldier at one point. Uh, because the Time Lords used to be a very warring species. Not so much anymore. Um, they they created some wars. um, they did some nasty things, and the Doctor was not fond of that. Um, the Doctor was like, "This is not very cool, and I don't like how the Time Lords are handling themselves. Uh, the universe could be a better place, and maybe I will help make it a better place." Yep. They did several war crimes, Flora. Lots of war crimes. So the Doctor, with their soldiering history in mind, decided to completely forego fighting. Um, the Doctor was like, "This is not very cool. Uh, I do not like doing war crimes. I do not like that the Time Lords have done lots of war crimes. Maybe I can go help make things slightly better. Obviously, I can't fix these war crimes, but maybe I can help make up for it a little bit in my own way." Um, so what the Doctor did was, as soon as they, I guess, kind of graduated the Time Lord Academy and came to their realization, um, they stole. And just one moment. They stole a TARDIS, which is one piece of advanced technology that the Time Lords have access to. Uh, the TARDIS, the name itself stands for time and relative dimension in space. Dimensions. I've seen it either way. Take that as you will. Um, and they took off. They said, "Bye, losers," and they basically foregoed with the whatever a regular career as a Time Lord is, and decided to go and help people instead. Um, but Sasha, that doesn't look like a spaceship. Well, no, and that's what it's kind of famous for, because the TARDIS, as a spaceship, has what's called a chameleon circuit. Um, and the chameleon circuit, when it works properly, is supposed to allow the ship to blend in with whatever local um, environment it lands in. Uh, so at in 1963, when the Doctor arrived in Great Britain, the TARDIS disguised itself as a police box. Which, if you're not aware of British history, a police box used to be a public service where you could call the police on the street if something bad was happening, and it was for free. Um, so, so as to prevent crimes happening, or hopefully get help if you need it. Um, and so that's what the TARDIS disguised itself as. And then at some point, uh, immediately afterwards, the chameleon circuit broke. And the Doctor decided, uh, you know what, that's kind of cool looking. I like how a police box looks. It also shows that I'm here to help. So the Doctor decided to forego repairing the chameleon circuit, and as a result, the TARDIS has remained a police box. Um, and the TARDIS is also famous for. Oh, no, wrong one. There it is. For being bigger on the inside. How does uh, how does that work? Mm, that is an ongoing famous mystery. The TARDIS is bigger on the inside, which has also been used as an analogy for people in general, and uh, part of many different plots on the show, showing that uh, you know to not judge a book by its cover, so to speak. So if you were to see the TARDIS on the street, yes, it's magic science. It's whatever you want to call it. The TARDIS is huge, and usually we only see the control room because that's where the Doctor does their magic. Interestingly, a TARDIS was originally designed within the show's canon to be driven by 8 Time Lords, but of course, and so as you can see, there's a lot of control. There's a lot of different buttons and knobs and wheelies and thingies. The thing in the main, right in the center, that sort of energy bar type thing is basically like the warp core, if you want to use a Star Trek term. That's where the ship gets its power. Um, the other thing about the TARDIS is that it's semi-sentient. It joins together with whoever its pilot is, and this has been explored in many different ways in the show. The TARDIS has been known to have uh, a deep affection for the Doctor, and will even chide it sometimes when things don't work well, or it'll prevent uh, something from happening, or if somebody tries to, who's not the Doctor, who tries to pilot it, intends to do something bad, the TARDIS will shut itself off or make itself inaccessible, which I think is pretty cool. But yes, it's known for having a library, a pool, um, and a whole bunch of different rooms as episodes need it to, which I think is really cool. It's huge. It's much bigger on the inside. Super huge. It's one of the show's catchphrases, even. Oh, sorry. It's bigger on the inside, just like all of us are. And yeah, um, cosplayers, Doctor Who cosplayers, myself included, love saying that. It's fun. Um, and as a real life note, if you ever go to a convention and there's a Doctor Who group there, uh, quite often you'll see a fan made TARDIS because it's really cool. Um, I always try to get a picture with it, but it doesn't always happen. But uh, and fun fact, I'm also a member of the Doctor Who Society of Canada, card carrying, um, and I've been there since it was founded. Since even before I was doing Star Wars cosplay, I was doing Doctor Who cosplay, and my very first one was the 11th Doctor. Um, let's see, which the pink one. That was one of my very first cosplays. Uh, so that's always fun. Um, he's actually relatively easy to put together. You just need a tweed jacket, um, a bow tie, red or blue, um, a striped shirt, and suspenders. And it's not that hard to put together. So if you've ever wanted to get into cosplay and you're a Whovian, that's a good way to go. Uh, I also do other things, but the 11th Doctor I still have a fondness for. But um, I'll be honest, the 10th Doctor is my favorite. Because if you watched my Thirst stream, David Tennant is was in there. He played the 10th Doctor. He was fantastic. He was just amazing. Um, he he was just so entertaining. Um, yeah, I might be a bit thirsty, so sue me. Let's see. Where are you? Just look at this man. Yes, he is uh extremely good looking. He's also very charismatic, very handsome, very Scottish. Uh, and not only because he's good looking, but his doctor, I think, had so much depth, uh, so much character, uh, that he was just very captivating. I really liked his turn on Doctor Who. Um, oh, yeah, we've got a little bit of thirst going. I'm not gonna apologize. He's he's awesome. Um, but yeah, uh, he was uh, he was very good, very good, very good. Yes. Sorry. Um, not sorry. All right. Uh, so let's get to the next part. Companions. Thank you, Flora. So one another important thing in Doctor Who is the Doctor's companions. There have always been companions, and there always will be. And anytime the Doctor does not have a companion, he always gets one, even if they're just a temporary one. Um, the other important thing about the Doctor's companions is they're always a regular person. They're always your average Joe. Um, sometimes they're very pretty, but uh, yeah, they are always an average person. And sometimes companions can last uh, from one doctor to the other. Um, and everybody has their favorite companions, and everybody has their favorite doctors. And if you ever get into a conversation about Doctor Who, it can very quickly turn into this doctor was my favorite, this companion was my favorite, and here's why. And here's why this companion sucks and this companion is good and this doctor is bad and this doctor is good. Um, and I'm not here to judge. It's just like any other fandom, any other universe. People love what they love and they don't love what they don't love. And yeah, personally, I am very fond of. I like all the companions really. I think they all have their upsides and downsides. Um, Yes, Donna was an amazing companion. Just for reference, she's the one to the extreme right of the picture. Uh, she was inducted into the companionship in a very interesting way. Um, Basically, uh, through some plot mechanisms, she was basically kidnapped by the doctor on her wedding day, which is funny because she basically spends the entire episode in her wedding dress. She's very snarky. She doesn't understand what's happening. The doctor doesn't understand what's happening, and and the whole episode is basically them trying to figure it out why it happened. Highly recommend. Um, but yes, so that's Donna, and then to the extreme left is Rose Tyler, who started off as the Ninth Doctor's companion and also lasted as the Tenth Doctor's one of the Tenth Doctor's companions. Uh, to the right of Rose is Martha. She was an actual like doctor, medical doctor. So there was a lot of jokes of doctor, 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 doctor. Um, I liked her a lot. I thought she was very stalwart. And then to the right is oh, what was her name? Yeah, Martha was great. Unfortunately, she's gotten a lot of flack, but that's because the fandom, really. Um, right, Clara. Right. Wow. Some Whovian you are, Sasha. Uh, yes, Clara, and then to the right of Clara, um, is yeah, yeah. I really liked Martha though. I thought she was great. Um, it was Amy Pond. Not pictured is Amy Pond's husband, um, Rory, who was also great. And then yeah, um, Clara was an 11th Doctor companion and lasted to the 12th Doctor. Amy Pond was an 11th Doctor companion, uh, and Donna was a 10th Doctor companion. Um, so they've all been on different adventures, but uh, the gist of it is with the Ninth Doctor, that was when the show kind of restarted after I think it was a 30-year break or 25-year break or something. So they basically wanted to sort of not start from the beginning, but start in such a way that anybody who'd never watched the show would still be able to get interested and get involved in it. Um, and so uh, the Ninth Doctor got famous for his phrase "run," which is when he grabs Rose's hand because she was basically a department store employee, uh, and the mannequin started coming alive, which was yeah kind of dangerous. They were actually an old school villain from the earlier episodes, the earlier seasons of the show. Um, the first run of it, I guess you could call it, from the 60s to the early 80s. Um, but yeah, so anyway, the doctor grabbed Rose's hand, said run, and they ran to safety to the TARDIS. And Rose was just kind of like, what the? And yeah, that's how the show started again in 2005. Um, and uh, and it's great because it just takes off. You don't need to know anything about it. So whenever people ask, "Oh my God, Doctor Who has been on forever. How do I get started in it?" Uh, to start with the Ninth Doctor because that was specifically how they designed the restart of the show, so that anybody could get into it. You don't need to know anything about Doctor Who. And yeah, and it's great. And I always say start with the Ninth Doctor, go forward from there, and then if you're still interested, go back and start the original because the show's evolved quite a lot. Um, Doctor Who is also kind of infamous because some of its production value from the first run of the show was maybe a little bit threadbare. um, but it was an educational show. They didn't really need to be super amazing. Um, but yeah. Yeah, it was kind of bad. That's why I always say start with the Ninth Doctor because the show was modern. It was shiny and pretty. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree. It's charming bad. Uh, but if you don't get into it when it's the shinier, if you don't get into it with the shinier aspects of it, then you might not like it in the not so shiny uh, stage of its existence. But is yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who started with the original run and just kept going. So it's really your personal preference. It's really how you like to watch a show. So yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the 2005 stuff is also cheesy. Um, but in an easy to get into kind of way, if that makes sense. It's um it's very much a show that you kind of either like it or you don't like it, and there's very little in between. Um, and people who do like it will like different parts of it for different reasons. It's very much an individualistic thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like cozy comfort type watching if you're into it. Uh, which I mean, I am. Uh, but I'll say this: when the 10th Doctor turned into the 11th Doctor, I ended up taking an impromptu break from it because I was so sad that the 10th Doctor was gone. And I ended up falling in love with the 11th Doctor, but it was kind of funny because my friend who'd been watching the who'd been continuing to watch the show was like, "You got to start watching him. He's amazing." And I'm just like, "But 10th Doctor, I love him so much. Ah, and he's David Tennant." And they're like, "Yeah, I know, but Matt Smith is also really cool." So I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." And I did, and I ended up liking. But yeah, I mean, one of the things about the fandom is you'll get people clinging to their doctor, whichever one their doctor happens to be. Um, and people have opinions. People like this part of the show and don't like that part of the show. They like this writer and that producer and not the other one. So, uh, yeah, it really depends. It really, really depends because there's just so much variety in Doctor Who that to some people it's like a completely different show when they regenerate a doctor because quite often what happens when you regenerate a doctor is you get a whole new production crew, all new writers, producers, everything. They kind of refresh the show, kind of like uh, if a website has has updated and you click the refresh button, it's still the same, but it's also new. So that's kind of the whole principle of regeneration. It's like not only does the doctor regenerate, but the show regenerates. So not all the time. A few times the same crew has stayed between doctors, but um, yeah, it's kind of viewed as a way to within the show production to wipe the slate clean and start afresh. And sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it doesn't. Uh, but yeah, as with any fandom, everybody has their opinions. Um, I tend to be a lot lenient. I give shows a lot of lenience. Um, and it's just as a general principle. I will give a show a chance. And if I like the show and it makes a mistake, I will give it like 10 other chances because I want to believe it will get better. And sometimes it does. Uh, but I won't get into my own personal opinions. I'm actually a little bit behind. I've been really behind. Oh, hello anyway, 737. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Context. Context. So, my name is Sasha. I'm a griffin. I'm one of four monsters in the Dungeon Lounge. Um, and this is my just chatting stream. Uh, I I chat about different. Oh, hi, Raya Scar. Welcome. Um, I chat about different random topics, or not so random, but whatever's voted on by the viewership in my Twitter polls. Um, I started off doing this every week, but I've decided to make it every other week because it got really stressful. Um, but the gist of it is that today is my Doctor Who uh, ramble, rant, whatever you want to call it, and and basically I just talk about things I like and hope that people find it interesting. Um, because I'm trying to explain the show. I'm trying to let people know about how Doctor Who works, and uh, the companions are a big part of it. Um, the companions, uh, yeah, um, yeah. Well, you can. There's a lot of different aspects of the show. Uh, in some aspects, maybe the Doctor has died, in others he hasn't, or they. But anyway, yeah, Donna was great. Donna was fun. She was very snarky. She didn't take any of the Doctor's guff. Um, yeah, yeah. So typically, the companion is in every person and any person, and the Doctor just sweeps them up into their chaos, their world, and they show them the universe and they solve problems. Oh, thank you, Ryaskar. Take care. Um, and yeah, they solve many different problems in the universe, and then they come back and they wait for the next adventure, or they go on the next adventure if it starts immediately. Um, so yeah, and of course, there's been a lot more companions than just these ones, but it would take a long time to go through all of them. Um, as always, if you are interested and would like to know more, please feel free to investigate at your own pace and or watch. And I recommend watching it. I've actually collected a lot of Doctor Who on Blu-ray, um, and it's fun to watch from time to time. But yes, so along the Doctor's travels, um, they've made enemies. Uh, this is the Dalek. The Dalek was the very first enemy of. Uh, oh, wow! Thank you for the follow anyway, and you're our 300th. So congratulations on that. Um, we're very happy to have you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's just wonderful. Uh, yes. Uh, so this is a Dalek. Uh, also known as evil salt and pepper shakers, which is kind of funny. Um, but yes, they have a kitchen whisk and a plunger. Um, they were invented with at the very beginning of Doctor Who, and they are an ancient enemy of the Time Lords. Uh, they were there from the very beginning, and they're kind of goofy. They started, but they're also really scary. They're relentless. The history of the Daleks, much condensed, of course. There's a lot. There's a lot. It's kind of tied into the Time Lord history. Um, the Daleks are, yes, also terrifying. um, the Daleks are actually not that uh, robot. They're the creepy little alien mutant inside the suit. So it's not really a robot, it's a suit. And um, the premise of the Daleks is that uh, I believe their homeworld they 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 were kind of like humans for a long time, but then they got into nuclear war, completely and utterly destroyed their planet. Uh, everywhere is radiation contaminated, and because of all the radiation, uh, and also now that their planet was uninhabitable, they became these little mutants that could barely move, and so they had to invent these kind of like uh, suits, um, I guess you could call it, uh, to survive, but also to defend themselves with. And because they were um, so filled with war and hatred, they kind of started taking it to the universe. And they said, hey, we're going to conquer you. We need more resources. We kind of destroyed our world, so now we want yours. And if you're not a Dalek, then you don't deserve to live. And yeah, they they're like a horde. They just keep coming. There's always another Dalek. There's always another war. Yeah, exactly. Uh, I wrecked my stuff. Now give me yours. And they will shoot you on sight with their plunger and their kitchen whisk. Um, they're also known for their voice. Uh, I unfortunately don't know how to play a sample. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a sample. Uh, oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know how to set it up. But they basically they have a robotic voice and they're known for saying exterminate. But imagine that through a sound changer and it sounds really robotic and horrible to listen to. And they're known for just basically swarming onto a planet, killing everything and everyone that moves, and then taking it over. Um, and soon everybody will become a Dalek. Um, and yeah, they've long been the Doctor's enemy. Uh, they hate Time Lords. They hate Gallifrey. Um, and so the Doctor has had to continually fight them over the years. Um, it's never pretty. It really isn't. And so many times, the Daleks have tried to attack Earth, which the Doctor has kind of claimed as their own. It's like, yo guys, don't attack Earth. I'm here. I will wreck your stuff. Um, and the Daleks are just like, I don't care. There's so many more of us than there are of you, and so we're gonna attack whether you like it or not. And they've forced the Doctor to go to some extraordinary means to fix things. Um, they are, yeah, really nasty, really icky. They hate everyone and everything, and it's actually pretty funny because one characteristic of the Doctor is always sassy, and so the Doctor will sass them to no end because the Doctor knows that they'll figure out one way or another of defeating them, um, and it's great. And so the Doctor will sass them on how they look or what they're doing. Um, there's actually a really neat uh, episode where uh, well, it's a whole episode, but basically they tried to uh, they made a space station around Earth, but in the future, and they were basically forcing people to participate in game shows, and if the people lost, then they died. Um, I forget the exact. Yo, Mal, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my ramble about Doctor Who. Um, so yeah. Um, and I forget the exact mechanism, but they were basically just kidnapping people and forcing them to do British game shows. Yeah, 300. We reached the number. Woohoo! That means celebration. Woohoo! Yeah. And yeah, it was really funny because you're expecting. Yeah, crab rave. Woo! Woo! Yeah. So you're expecting to watch Doctor Who, but then you get this game show, but then you find out it's Doctor Who. because the doctor's like, why are the Daleks kidnapping people on their game show? Oh, let's see. I forgot a character that everybody should know about. So, the doctor often runs across interesting characters on the show. And one of them is a character by the name of, sorry, one moment. Captain Jack. Uh, and that's the episode where we meet Captain Jack. Um, he's fun. Uh, oh wait, no, it's not the episode where we meet Captain Jack. We met him actually during the Ninth Doctor's run, when they travel back to World War II, and they examine World War II through the British viewpoint, of course, because the show's British. But Captain Jack, he's uh, he's really famous on the show because he's so charismatic. Oh yeah, are you my mummy? Um, and they basically solve an alien problem, uh, which I don't really want to spoil too much because it's a great episode. But um, yeah, Captain Jack pops in and out through the series with the different doctors. He's really fun. He actually got his own spin-off series called Torchwood, which I'll explain about maybe a bit later. Um, but yeah, uh, if you ever meet a Doctor Who fan, a Whovian, uh, ask him about Captain Jack. He's great. Um, but yes, so uh, there we go. And yeah, what's that? Oh yeah, okay, nope. Cybermen. Cybermen are also another bad guy from the very beginning of the show. Um, they're kind of creepy. Uh, This is actually their updated look. When they first appeared on the show, they looked a lot more basic. But the premise of the Cybermen is that they're basically the Borg of Doctor Who. Um, they will assimilate you and make you perfect and get rid of emotions. Getting rid of emotions is their main thing. Uh, they view anybody with emotions as imperfect. They view themselves as completely logical, um, and yeah, they will zap anybody that gets in their way. They will assimilate you and make you a Cyberman too. Everybody who gets assimilated looks the same, except there are a few Cybermen units who are in charge. Um, but the gist of it is you get assimilated, you become a Cyberman, and you lose all emotions. You become purely logical, uh, and it's very depressing. You lose who you are. You just become just another soldier in the Cybermen army. And the Cybermen, just like the Daleks, basically want to destroy everything and everyone, and they want to make you and everyone you know and love into a Cyberman. Um, they have specialized machines that do that. Uh, and yeah, it's very creepy. And um, there was several great episodes where the Doctor, through plot mechanics, basically sets the Cybermen against the Daleks, and hilarity ensues because uh, the Daleks actually get some really good insults in on the Cybermen, and vice versa. It's great. Um, but yeah, so yeah, Cybermen, creepy, nasty. They will destroy you. They will destroy everyone you know and love. And both the Cybermen and the Daleks come from a very World War II point of view in that they're basically kind of like disguised space fascists. Um, the Daleks have been called space Nazis, basically. because if you're not a Dalek, then they don't want you. They don't want to bother with you. They will just destroy you because you're taking up the resources that they want. And I'm not sure if the Cybermen are really a specific space something, but it's kind of like a send up of the idea of the people who uh, I guess you could almost say it's like an examination of the function and usefulness of emotions. And um, given given that there are a large segment of people who um, try to uh, get rid of emotions, at least in specific segments of the society, um, it kind of relates to that, I guess. People trying to be like, oh, why are emotions so terrible? People shouldn't feel emotions, just be purely logical. It's like, no, because emotions are an important part of us. And it's an entire plot mechanic in Doctor Who that the Doctor defeats Cybermen by uh, getting them to feel emotions, because that basically short circuits them. Uh, and the Doctor's like, yeah, that's not very healthy. Everybody should have emotions. Emotions. Welcome, Kishna. Uh, yes. um, and yeah, Cybermen are like, we don't want emotions. They're nasty. They're dirty. And the Doctor's like, but we need emotions. Uh, and the Cybermen are like, but now we will destroy you. And the Doctor's like, I don't think so. That's not very cool, guys. Let's not. And so the Doctor will find a way of short circuiting and sending away the Cybermen. Um, uh, and yeah, so one very important characteristic of the Doctor. Uh, oh wait, no, I'll do one more bad guy too. We can't talk about Doctor Who villains without talking about the Weeping Angels. Uh, they were super creepy. They came about from the 10th Doctor's run in one episode, and then they became a lot more prominent during the 11th Doctor's run. But the gist of them is that, uh, yes, don't blink. Uh, and actually, they were introduced in one of the best 10th Doctor run episodes ever. Uh, I would arguably say one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever. Um, which is really funny because the Doctor actually doesn't feature as prominently, but it does have an actress that went on to become really big afterwards, so that's really cool. Um, yeah. Uh, but the gist of it is that um, they are aliens that freeze up completely when you look at them. So they basically, I guess you could say they evolved to look like a statue. But if you look away, or if you even blink, they have mastered the ability of moving almost instantaneously. So you could see, say, you go to a cemetery and you see an angel on a gravestone and you think, oh, what a beautiful statue. And then you blink and suddenly that statue is right in front of you, as in this picture, desiring to eat you, as it looks like. But actually, they don't eat you. What they do is they feast on your potential energy for the rest of your life, and they zap you back in time uh, to usually some random point, and then you get to live your life out in such a way that you're in the past, um, which you know would really suck. Uh, but yeah, they're great, and of course, you can't blink, you can't look away. So the big challenge is how do you defeat them? And there have been many ways that they could theoretically be defeated. Um, but yeah, that's part of the struggle of the show, and I highly recommend any episode with the Weeping Angels in them. Uh, there's a big 11th Doctor story arc with them. Um, really good. Uh, they're they swarm a spaceship, and the Doctor and his companions are basically forced to deal with them. Uh, very cool. Uh, Yeah, lots of fun. Lots of fun. Super popular. They're also a really popular cosplay choice for Whovians that go to cons. Really fun. Um, I've seen some really good ones. So yeah, it's always great if you're dressed as the Doctor to get a picture with them or pretending to be menaced by them. What a great thing. Um, so I mean that's the basic gist of the show. The Doctor just time travels, usually with one, maybe more companions. They go about saving people in the universe from whatever issues. They're the Doctor does their best. Quite often, they don't fully save a person or a civilization, but they will uh, at least get the person or civilization on their way. And they'll say, okay, I've done this part, now you do the rest. And usually, the doctor has done enough to facilitate a full recovery from whatever the problem was. Um, and it's pretty great. It's heartwarming. Um, and it's very interesting because yeah, the production crew of the show usually finds an interesting place and an interesting time to go to. And they make things up, of course, because the Doctor can also travel into the future. So um, there have been some really cool episodes where they uh, speculate on future timelines and what humanity could be reduced or brought up to, and so on and so forth. Um, and of course, the Doctor knows everything, almost. Not everything, but a lot, and can talk about it, which is really fun. Um, what's this picture? Oh, yeah, sexy 10. Okay, so we are going to go back to this because um, now I want to talk about different themes that the show examines. Uh, the show examines a lot. Uh, it examines, well, much like Warhammer 40,000, it examines fascism, it examines government, it examines rumors, it examines um, sacrifice, memory, uh, how one thing can affect another, how the doctor deals with people they don't like, what's a fair way of dealing with things. So I'll try to. Oh, and pacifism. That's what I wanted to launch off with. Uh, One of the biggest characteristics of the Doctor is that they're a technical pacifist. They don't have a weapon. They don't have an X-wing or a TIE fighter or whatever. They have a sonic screwdriver. And you think, Sasha, a sonic screwdriver? What does that even do? Uh, well, that's a great thing. Just for reference, the 10th Doctor, the one with the green background, is holding his sonic screwdriver. Um, they tend to look very similar to that. The appearance will change with different doctors, but the generally there's a shiny bit at the end, and it looks kind of like a pen type thing. But I like to joke that the sonic screwdriver does whatever the writers need it to do. Usually that is open locks and futz with computers. Because the Doctor vehemently despises the use of weapons of all kinds, usually guns, because that's the ones that are brought up the most in the show. Because uh, the writers of the show are very realistic. The Doctor doesn't like guns. He doesn't like war because of the his history. Um, having been a soldier at one point in his past, he's like, no, I've seen what these do. These are terrible, no matter who wields them. Um, the only thing that results is misery, pain, death, suffering, and as a in good conscience, I cannot support that. So the Doctor has foregoed basically all use of weapons as much as they can. Um, in very few circumstances, the Doctor has used one, but very minimally, and uh, only if there's literally no other way. Um, Usually when they're dealing with like Cybermen or Daleks, because those are robotics. They're very stubborn and unwielding. They don't they don't compromise. Um, and so it has happened many times in the show where the companion will be like, "Doctor, we need a gun. We need to defend ourselves." And the doctor will be like, "Nope, we're doing this another way." And the companion's like, "Oh crap, we're dead." But usually, um, because the doctor's so amazing, so experienced, they've lived arguably several different lifetimes. They've seen many different things. They've solved many different problems. Um, the doctor will be like, "No, I've got this, fam. Just stick with me. Follow my lead." And uh, and so the companion, though, exactly aggressive diplomacy. Uh, they will force you to be diplomatic. They will be like, "Hey, war is not cool. Let's stop this. Let's talk." And many a time has the doctor given a great speech about how you know, the one thing the sonic screwdriver is good for is deactivating weapons of all kinds. Whether, a modern laser gun or uh, a flintlock or whatever. Um, and the doctor will force people to sit down and talk. He will, if necessary, tie people up, lock them up somehow, and say, "Nope, you're sitting down and talking." And it's a great examination of how useless war and how terrible war can be. How war only facilitates and produces more war. Um, Now, that being said, the doctor absolutely uh, wishes for people to defend themselves, but the doctor uh, will not go the war route. The doctor will do every single thing possible to prevent war from happening. Um, And I think that's great because you don't see too many technically pacifist heroes these days. Uh, Quite often you'll get the action hero with a gun going on car chases and helicopter chases and lots of explosions and who knows what damage being done, people getting killed. It's all very sad and tragic, but at the end you get the result. But the doctor says nope, no to that. Um, and and it's very neat to me. It's very cool that he's almost aggressively pacifist. He or she, um, the doctor says there's always a better way. There's always another door. There's always another window, and we will find that come hell or high water. There will be no weapon use in my vicinity, and I will stop it if I see it. Which I think that's great. It's fantastic. Even it's a great message to put out. It doesn't necessarily mean that all war is bad because sometimes you're backed into a corner. But um, even the doctor recognizes that from time to time. But the truth of the matter is, war is bad. There's no glory in war. There's no honor in war. The only thing that comes out of war is death and pain and suffering and misery. People die, land and resources are destroyed, uh, lingering hatred is created. Um, I mean, just look at modern events, modern history, current history, even. Uh, I'm sure I don't even have to tell you. Uh, whatever comes to mind. War is hell, and there's no other way around it. And the doctor encourages everybody to find a different way. Why do we need to suffer? Why do we need to perpetuate this misery? What is so good about it? Why do you view it as a good thing? Uh, not you, my lovely viewers, but the figurative you, the humanity you. Um, what's what's so great in killing another person and taking away their life? Uh, that person is somebody's son, daughter, other. Uh, that person is a cousin, a sister, a brother, who knows, an aunt, a grandparent, and Everybody matters. And that's another thing the doctor believes in very firmly, no matter uh, which doctor you look at, is everybody is important. Everybody is somebody. Uh, and everybody deserves dignity and respect. And there are very few that do not, if any. Because one thing the doctor has is forgiveness even for their worst enemy. They've forgiven Daleks and Cybermen and for horrible things, but they also haven't forgotten. And that's one thing I like about the doctor. It's like, I'll let you go this time. Uh, you're uh, you're unique. You're a person, but I also am keeping an eye on you, and I will make sure that you do not do anything bad. Um, and I think that's important. Uh, Forgive, but don't forget. Um, but sometimes even don't forgive. Just talk. Sit down and talk. And why do people forget this? What's wrong with sitting down and talking? Much can be done with words, even more than people think. And if you, uh, it's often said as a joke. It's like, oh, I'd like to, tape those two people together and lock them in a room with donuts and coffee and not let them out until you come up with some sort of agreement. And I mean, I'm here for that. I don't I don't want people to fight. I don't think it's a good thing at all. I think sitting down and talking like responsible people can come up with a lot of good. And yeah, the doctor will absolutely force people to sit down and talk. He will absolutely lock them in a room with donuts and coffee and come up with some sort of agreement. And I think he has, and it's great. So that's one character note of the Doctor that I really like. He does not tolerate war, um, or he tolerates it very little. And I think it's a great characteristic that more people need. Uh, I think it's great writing. I think it's a great thing to forward. Um, and that's one reason why I really like Doctor Who so much. It's whatever the situation, whatever's going on, the Doctor will encourage peace. And not a harmful peace, but a peace that, at the very least, doesn't hurt both parties, but hopefully, at the very most, will benefit them. And I think that's a great view to take. And along that same note, the show examines government and different aspects of it. Uh, yeah, it is a good lesson, Flora. I agree. And I think it's a lesson that needs to be taught more. It's I think the idea that war is good stems from a very individualistic point of view. It's I've got mine and screw you, and I think that's a bad thing. I think it's a view that should not be perpetuated, but of course it is, and quite a lot in many different areas of the world. We only have one planet, and the more people refuse to cooperate, refuse to sit down and talk, um, the worse things are. So yeah, we need to change a lot. Encourage peace instead of war. Make love, not war. um, yeah. So Doctor Who also examines government and its function. And many a time, in many an episode, aliens have tried to infiltrate humanity by sneaking into government through random means. Oh, hydrate. Thank you, Flora. I really appreciate it. Oh, and stretch. Oh, oh, oh. There's a good stretch. All right, and hydrate. Thank you. I appreciate it. And one of the fan favorite characters um, Harriet Jones. She was around in, I believe, the 10th Doctor run. Um, she was great. She was quite often a supporter of the Doctor, which was rare because the Doctor rarely finds friends in any government that they deal with. Um, because the government's like, who's this weird person in a telephone box running around saying that they're in charge? Why should we listen to them? Um, but Harriet Jones was a firm ally of the Doctor, and she started off as a minister, but then eventually got became prime minister of the UK, and she was great. She was very snarky. She was um, very smart. She recognized when to do things and when to let the Doctor take charge. Um, of course, the rest of the government didn't quite understand, but uh, eventually, due to plot reasons, she um, wasn't prime minister, but she did involve herself with another Doctor Who mainstay called Unit, um, which was originally in the first run of the show, the 60s to the 80s, was established as a pseudo-military scientific agency of the British government, sorry, of the UN, my apologies, um, to deal with things that the Doctor usually deals with, but when the Doctor is not around. So, um, yeah, so she eventually became involved with that. And I've actually done unit cosplay from the 10th Doctor's uh, run when they had the red berets, which is great. Um, so, yeah, that's fun. Uh, but yeah, so through Harriet Jones and a lot of other different government characters, the show has examined how the government affects people and how people affect the government, and in many parts where the the Doctor deals with government in some form or another, sometimes in the future, sometimes in the past. Um, so UNIT was actually founded uh, back in Queen Victoria's reign. Um, so it wasn't, I guess, not quite founded by. Oh wait, no, that was Torchwood. I'm mixing things up. Woo. Um, yeah, there's like two agencies. It's kind of funny. Um, but yeah, that's another thing I'll get into. But uh, but yeah, so Unit was kind of like um, whenever something weird happened in the world, Unit would be there to deal with it. And sometimes they'd meet up with the Doctor, and for a while they were almost hostile to the Doctor because it's like, hey, we can't always have you here. You mess things up a lot. You get in the way. You wreck things, and we're here to fix whatever mess you create. But through persistence and charm and the help of their companions, the Doctor eventually becomes more friend than foe. Even though there are many members of UNIT who are resentful, but they don't see why humanity needs the Doctor. Uh, you know, maybe he was great when they first started, but now we have UNIT, so what the heck? But many times the UNIT bureaucracy is just not enough to deal with whatever the problem is. So the Doctor will often recruit UNIT, and there's a few more famous UNIT characters. I won't get into them, but if you do your own research or watch the show, you will find out who they are. Um, but yeah, so anyway, that was a huge tangent. Um, yeah, so going back to Harriet Jones, she's great. Uh, she's fun. She's a neat character. Um, and and yeah, she's part of the examination of government, which I guess in Britain is a thing. Uh, the British love to mock their government, and I think it's a very uniquely British um, outlook to put in the show, and definitely something worth examining because um, you should never. leave a government unexamined or their function. Um, I believe that paying attention to politics is important, as exhausting as it can be, because politics is what steers society. And if you're not paying attention, then politics will steer society in some ways that you don't like, or do things that are not good. And you should always hold them to account. And that's what part of what the doctor does. And actually, at one point, Harriet Jones, before she sort of turns around, does something the doctor doesn't like. And yeah, the doctor, through a mere sentence whispered into the ear of somebody, basically takes her down. And that's part of how the doctor works. He doesn't have to shoot a gun. He can just speak the right words into somebody's ear because he knows how rumor works. Doesn't she look tired? Like that becomes kind of famous. It's interesting. Um, yeah. So the other thing, yeah, yes, doesn't she look tired? Uh, he actually takes Harriet Jones down that way, and she sort of realizes the mistakes she's done and turns around. But at that point, the doctor is not very fond of her because she gets in his way. Um, I loved that. I just loved it. It was so clever, so fun. Um, yeah. So definitely get get informed politically, if not involved, if you can, because if you don't pay attention to your government will pay attention to you, and maybe not in the best way. Um, Doctor Who also examines, well, militarism and fascism, uh, but in a very different way than Warhammer 40,000. Um, Doctor Who examines it in the form of the Daleks and the Cybermen, uh, and also people getting carried away with things. Um, things like fascism are a big problem. They are a big problem, and they linger, and they not only linger, but they get worse. And if you don't keep an eye on it, if you don't tackle it while it's still growing, then things will get really bad. And you get people versions of Daleks and Cybermen where uh, they will shoot you if they don't like how you look at them, if you sneeze at them the wrong way, if you're not following their belief, they will do bad things, and you need to stay on top of that. It also looks at how very easily it spreads, um, and how sometimes it can even be countered. Actually, one of the very early Ninth Doctor episodes was had a quote unquote good Dalek, which I don't know if people really remember it, but the good quote unquote Dalek realized that it was it was from a terrible species. The Doctor tried to redeem it, try to convince it to stick around and do good, but um, it self-destructed because it just was uh, destroyed by its own guilt. But um, so Doctor Who also examines redemption from such horrid things. Uh, so I think there's always a thread of hope in there, which is important. The Doctor always, always, always it encourages hope. Hope for the present, hope for the future. Just don't lose it, whatever you do, wherever you go. Maintain a thread of hope, because things can and often will get better. If not now, then in the future. And it's important to remember that. And yeah, uh, well, I kind of rambled there. Um, but yeah, so uh, for more thoughts on fascism, go see my Warhammer 40,000 uh, ramble. But yeah, Doctor Who definitely examines that as well. Um, and if you watch any episode with the Daleks or the Cybermen or both in them, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, yeah, they're fantastical space alien bad guys, but uh, you can see where their clear influences are. You can see where they came from. You can see the long thread. Oh, hi, Elos, and welcome. Welcome, welcome. Um, you can see the long thread of World War II and other wars as presented by the Daleks and the Cybermen. Um, when you have like space Nazi type characters, it becomes pretty fairly obvious um, if you watch long enough. And it's things to note, things to pay attention to, because these themes are present in every day of our lives. Uh, Sometimes in people we may or may not know, in places we may or may not go, and it's good to be aware of it. Uh, you might know people who are more directly affected than you are, and these things are important to be aware of in the hopes that, hey, maybe you can help fight it and make things better for that person you know. Um, and so that's what the doctor says. I can't be everywhere all at once, so uh, I'm going to need you to do your part as well. And that's part of another great thing I love about Doctor Who is that, yeah, he might swoop in and help solve a problem, but he always leaves something for you to do as well. He encourages you to start solving your own problems, and not. I mean, if your situation is such that you're stuck, then that's one thing, and the doctor acknowledges that. But um, if you can do something and you're able to do something, then maybe you should try doing something. Um, Not to the point of where you're worn out or anything, but if you can, then you should. And sometimes you need to get a little bit heroic, and sometimes you need to do something a little bit desperate, but that's life. That's how it works. And getting lost in your own problems and wallowing in self despair sometimes doesn't help. Uh, and of course, there's always room for exception to that. Again, if you're not able to help your situation, if you're not able to do something, then then that's it. Then that's reality. But if you are and you can and you're able, then you should try. You should, uh, you know, and hopefully somebody out there will help you as well. And you'll make your reality better. You'll make somebody else's reality better because often in helping yourself, you can help others. And maybe you should try to help others as well. And you should be somebody else's doctor, so to speak. Um, See if you can use whatever your personal sonic screwdriver might be to solve a problem. Uh, give them help if and when you can, uh, and help yourself as well. Because, as the doctor has always said in one way or another, I've never met anyone who wasn't important. So, everyone matters. Everyone's important. Everyone counts. You, you in yourself are a valuable person to the universe, and everything you say and you do does matter, even if you don't feel like it, and it's hard to see, and you're having a terrible day and everything's going wrong. That doesn't mean that you don't matter. That doesn't mean that you don't count or that you're not valued or loved in some way. Somebody somewhere, excuse me, loves you, cares for you, misses you. Maybe you haven't even met that person yet, but they are there, and uh, they do love you, and you should keep that in mind. And if you're having a terrible day, um, and you never know, maybe you could be somebody's doctor, or somebody else could be your doctor, and life will get better because of it. Uh, Important things to keep in mind. Um, you can be a hero. You can be a hero too, and that's uh, The fact that the doctor's companions are always some random person that's got swept up in an adventure, or the doctor picked them up off the street, or they accidentally got teleported into the TARDIS, or whatever. Uh, I think that's an important part of the show to acknowledge. The doctor's companions are usually, they could very easily be you or me, you or I. Uh, Wherever you are, whatever you're doing in the world, the doctor could at any point sweep you up. And symbolically, it's saying, you know, everybody's important. It's saying your adventure could come at any time, and your life could be made better or different. Uh, you could have an adventure. You could go somewhere and do something, but come back and be a different person and hopefully help somebody along the way. It's hope. It's hope, and it's a flame that everyone should keep alive. So, yeah, no matter what's going on, no matter who's being stupid somewhere else, or who's saying something stupid or doing something stupid or whatever, uh, life will find a way. Uh, and you can find a way as well. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Uh, Chat. If you're a Whovian, tell me something you like about Doctor Who. Uh, Tell me something that's stuck with you. Tell me your favorite whatever. I want to hear, and we can talk about them. Toss things at me. Uh, Tell me a favorite episode, maybe, and we can talk about it. Oh, I love the Van Gogh one. Yes. So during the 11th Doctor's run, um, I have a lot of favorite episodes, so picking one is kind of hard, but this is definitely on my top list. During the 11th Doctor's run, um, they traveled back in time to meet Vincent van Gogh, or Van Gogh, to pronounce it properly. And of course, he's famous for his uh, psychological problems, but also his beautiful art. Oh, okay. Well, I highly recommend Alosin. Start with the Ninth Doctor and go from there. Um, and basically, yeah, moisturize me. Ah, that's another great one. Um, but yes, so uh, through the episode's adventure, they find out that the Doctor sees, not the Doctor, sorry, Vincent sees a monster and it's plaguing him. But they take down the monster, but they also spend time with Vincent and uh, try to figure out what's wrong with him and how to quote unquote fix him. And one of the points of the episode is to show that not everything can be fixed, and unfortunately, not everything can be prevented. So, in a great show of compassion, the Doctor and his companions bring Vincent van Gogh to the future, where there's a Vincent van Gogh uh, show at a museum. Um, and they show him just how famous him and his paintings are. And he basically, it's a great show of compassion for a person, because he was very clearly troubled. He was very clearly, didn't think that he mattered, and his death was, yeah, and his death was tragic and all. Um, but even though he got to see just how much his works matter, just how much his life matters, he still, well, what happened happened. And the companion is like, "Doctor, why did he do that? Didn't, we took him to the future. We showed him that his works and his life mattered." And the doctor made a point of like, we can't fix everything. People will always have their own demons, their own things to work through. The best we can do is show them love and compassion and hope that it helps. And and so that episode, I've even shown it to people who don't really watch sci-fi, who don't watch Doctor who don't really understand it. Um, my Griffin aunt, for instance, she's an actual artist. She uh, and she really appreciates art. And I showed her that episode, and she loved it. She was actually crying at the end because even though she didn't get all of like the sci-fi parts, she really appreciated the scene at the end, and where the doctor shows Vincent the the show of his work, and uh, and it's just so important. It's so very crucially Doctor Who and the doctor, because the doctor is all about showing people that they matter, that what they love, what they do, what their hobbies are, that all matters because it matters to you, and you matter to everybody else. Uh, and the doctor has never met a person that wasn't important, that wasn't that didn't matter in some way, shape, or form. And even people who are going through some things, who are having a difficult time of life, who are struggling in some way, they still matter. They're still important. And sometimes you have an effect that you're not even aware of. And that's something to keep in mind. It shows that, you know, yes, your life might be tough. You're struggling, you're going through something or other, you have a challenge, a particular challenge that you're facing, you're dealing with things that aren't nice or pretty, but you still matter. Even quote unquote broken people matter, and people who are going through whatever matter. And I think the reason that episode is so important to people is because of that. Is because it really hits on something important and something that people don't always get. And and unfortunately, you can't just, there's not a button that you can press that fixes everybody's problems. You can't always sweep in there with a sonic screwdriver, unlock a door, and futz with a computer and make everything better. But what you can do is be there for a person. What you can do is tell them that they're important, that you love them, that you care for them, that they matter, and hope that you're contributing to the better part of their lives and not the worst. And in the same way, hopefully somebody will do that for you. Because we all have times in our life where we think we don't matter, where what we do won't have an effect, and what we like isn't important, and the doctor reminds us that that's not true. That we all matter. We're all important. Our hobbies are important. Our likes and dislikes are important, and as long as you're not hurting somebody else, do your own thing. Be you. Um, and if you are hurting somebody, then change. You can change. You're able to change. Redemption is always possible. Um, you are important as a person, and what you do and say matters. So don't forget that. And that's a message of the show that's always stuck with me. It's always resonated, and I try to make it part of myself. I try to do my best, and being human, I'll fail, but that doesn't mean I won't try anyway. And that's something I try to put forth through everything I do. And I think it's something that everyone should try to do, um, wherever they are in life. Remember that you matter and that everybody else matters. And compassion is important. And um, people are jerks out there and people do awful things, but compassion also matters. And everybody's going through something. And sometimes it doesn't hurt to give somebody a break, to give them some space because everybody's got their own battles, everybody's got their own problems. So, yeah, that's been a running theme through Doctor Who, and I think it's great. Exactly. There's a saying that I like, which is fall 7 times, get up 8. And that's what the doctor does. The doctor will always get up. Well, he might fall, he might do something bad, but he will always get up and he will always help you get up. And he will always remind you that that you matter, that you're an important person, that what you say and what you do counts, and your hobbies and everything you like, um, it counts and is to be respected. You as a person are important. You fill a space that only you can fill. You do things that only you can do, and you should always remember that. Um, it's important. Compassion is important. Uh, Being you, just doing you things, whatever those you things are, however you do them, that's important. And you should never forget that. And you might be somebody's doctor just by being you. Somebody might look up to you, somebody might admire you. And by that same token, uh, you admire somebody else. You look up to somebody else, and that counts. So, yeah, like that is 1000% part of the point of Doctor Who, I think. And all those fantastical adventures and all those weird things that the Doctor says and does at the base of it, at the very, very base of it, at the foundation of the show itself, is compassion and and education and you matter. And almost every time the Doctor has regenerated, they've always come up with some form of saying you're important. You as a person, the space you take up, the things you do, that is all important, and you should never forget that. Even if something is bad, uh, even if you're working through something, even if, like Vincent Van Gogh, you've got some issues that you're working through, and things might not be the best, and things might not be ideal, but you still count. So yeah, important things to know. All right. Uh, Anything else? Um, Moisturize me. Yeah, that was great. That episode I thought was neat because the doctor made friends with different kinds of aliens, and one of them was basically like an ant, like a tree alien, and the doctor, I give you the gift of my breath, and blew some air to them because trees value carbon dioxide and you exhale. So um, Lady Cassandra was kind of nasty though, but the doctor took care of them. Um, I don't want to spoil the episode, but you should all watch it. It's a Ninth Doctor episode. Um, and another thing I really like about the Doctor, I guess, is their childlike enthusiasm for everything. Uh, because even though they've lived the equivalent of several lifetimes, they still haven't seen everything in the universe. They still haven't done everything there is to do. And so whenever they go to a new place or do a new thing, um, it's all a great big adventure to them. And it's pretty cool that they still maintain their enthusiasm despite being somewhat old and somewhat jaded. And I think that's important. I've only seen about one season of her. Uh, like I mentioned, I'm a bit behind, but I liked her episodes. Jodie Whittaker. Um, and I liked her episodes. There's uh, a little bit of uncertainty in how they handled uh, her doctor, but the actress herself is really good. Um, I don't know if anybody else watched her before Doctor Who, but she was in that movie Attack the Block, which also had John Boyega of Star Wars fame. So it's pretty neat that both of them went on to do famous franchises like that. Um, But she was really good in that. So I had faith coming in that she would be good. And it was more the way the show didn't quite know how to handle a woman doctor that I think got in the way. I liked her plots, and they gave her actually multiple companions. So I think they kind of I feel like they kind of bit off a bit more than they could chew with that. Usually the Doctor will only have one or two companions. The 11th Doctor, the pink one, and just for reference, had had a few different companions. He had a married couple, Amy and Rory Pond. Um, but even Rory wasn't in every episode. He was in a lot of them though, which is great. Then they really knew how to do those two characters. I have a friend who's very picky about who which shows she likes, but she really liked Amy and Rory Pond. Um, but yeah, they gave the 13th Doctor a lot of companions, and I think they just sort of bit off more than they could chew. They didn't quite know how to treat a woman doctor in the same way that they knew how to treat a male doctor. Um, it's hard to explain, but I feel like they wasted a lot of her potential. Um, I feel like she tried her best, but they didn't give her the best material to work with. There were a few notable episodes, but I don't know. She just didn't have quite the same weight to her, if that makes sense. Like the male doctors, they all you can all feel like some sort of history and metal to them that you don't really feel with the 13th Doctor. And again, it's no slight on Jodie Whittaker. She was great, and I could tell she was enjoying the fun. Um, and I loved her companions. Uh, and they actually very gently examined religion as well, very gently in her run, as well as partially in the 11th Doctor's run as well. But yeah, it, they could have done better with her. I don't think they gave her what she deserved in terms of material. Um, because they didn't quite know what to do with her. I think the show has traditionally been a male-led show. So when you have um, a woman doctor, they didn't quite know what to do with her. I don't know if there's anybody to lay blame on for that. I think they're like, "Oh, look at us. We're doing something really progressive." And it's true, they were. I was over the moon when I found out we were getting a woman doctor. And I'm still happy they did it, but I don't know if they really handled it well. I thought she was great fun though. Like she had a lot of great moments. Um, she had a lot of fun to her, but I don't know. I don't know if I ever really formulated my feelings on her. It sometimes it's hard to cut through the fandom garbage, I guess so to speak. Yeah, like I guess it was kind of a perfect storm almost of, you know, a male-led show introducing a woman lead, which, yeah, technically it's the same character, but almost not, if that makes sense. Coupled with a fandom who was expecting another male to lead, um, expecting different ways of the Doctor doing things. Um, I know a lot of people who didn't like the 13th Doctor's run, and that I found, yeah, it was hard to cut through. I think I've got to watch again at some point when like I feel like the worst of it has calmed down already. But yeah, I've got to watch it again at some point just when I'm not like I guess paying attention so much to what the fandom says. Um and I feel like on that same token, though, she wasn't given as much leeway as the male doctors get. Like, in terms of, oh, yeah, that episode was a flop, but this one was great. I get a lot of I saw a lot of fandom opinion that went along the lines of, "Oh, this episode is bad. Next episode's going to be worse. I'm just not even going to give her a chance." So, I don't think they gave her her fair due either. And I think they saw what the fandom was doing and that just really harshed her run on it, if that makes sense. Um it really just, was like a thundercloud over everything she did. And I don't think that was fair to her or the show. And I don't think the show was fair to her because they just didn't know how to handle her. Um, and yeah, I mean, you're going to get backlash. You're going to get, anytime there's this major or significant change, and even just between doctors. Like a lot of people didn't like the 11th Doctor. A lot of people didn't like the 12th Doctor, even though they were male, but they were different. They were too different. And sometimes the fandom just doesn't react to a doctor transition really well. Um, a lot of people were huge fans of the 10th Doctor. Also, a lot of people weren't. I know somebody who hates the 10th Doctor's run. He's my favorite, but that doesn't mean he's everybody's favorite. Uh, and then you get a weird subsection of the fandom being like, "Oh, the Ninth Doctor is overlooked so much, blah blah blah," and it's like, you're not a true Doctor Who fan if you haven't watched the Ninth Doctor's run, and it's like, well, I think that's gatekeeping. I get it. You love the Ninth Doctor and you think he deserves a lot more accolades, and I'll be honest, I think he does too. But that doesn't mean that you're not a true Doctor Who fan if you haven't watched his run, or if you've only watched the 11th Doctor's run or the 10th Doctor's run or whatever. It doesn't mean you're not a true Whovian. Um, just like any fandom, I don't care if all you've done is see one episode of something and you liked it, or you've watched the entire run of it and you have opinions on every single episode or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. If you say you like Doctor Who, then you like Doctor Who, and that's the end of it to me. Um, Not everybody follows that viewpoint, however, so I'm not here to judge. Um, yeah, they're the worst. Yeah, every fandom, every fandom, you have your gatekeepers who are just like, you're not a true fan if, and it's like, screw that. I don't care. Um, yes, they are. They really are the worst. True fans, I feel are a problem no matter what fandom you're in, and I don't like gatekeeping. I think gatekeeping is. I will judge you for gatekeeping. If you say, you're not a true fan because A, B, or C, then yeah, I will judge you and I will not be forgiving because that is literally the worst thing to do. Um, and I really don't care. I really don't care how much or how little of it you've watched, or if you've ever bought or made your own cosplay. Exactly. Um, I don't care if you bought something from a costume maker or you did it yourself. I don't care. Same with cosplay. I don't care if you sewed every stitch yourself or if you bought or if you thrifted or whatever. I really don't care. Good for you for enjoying what you like. Good for you for dressing up. You're a cosplayer. So, screw gatekeepers in general and screw Doctor Who gatekeepers. I don't care. Um, I really, and I will judge you for gatekeeping because that is literally the worst thing to do. Um, and people, again, people like what they like. They don't like what they don't like, and that's fine. We're not all Cybermen. We're we're not all, purged of emotion, and you must like A, B, and C to be a true fan of something. No, and screw that. You're not purging my emotions, you Cyberman. I will like what I like, and I will watch what I watch, and you can't stop me. And I refuse to be a Cyberman or a Dalek. Um, and that's important too. Thank you, Flora. I will. Uh, Gatekeeping not allowed here. Gatekeepers can go fly a kite. I don't care what you think if you're a gatekeeper in anything. It's Star Wars, Doctor Who, Star Trek, whatever. If you're a gatekeeper, then go fly a kite because you don't belong here. And people like things the way they like them. and you're just pissing in the pool, and that is not cool. Uh, the best way to persuade somebody out of liking your favorite thing is to tell them you don't like it the right way. And I firmly believe the doctor would strongly disavow any gatekeeping. I think the doctor, if they knew their fandom, would be yelling at a whole bunch of them for it because yeah, that is not very doctor like of you. Exactly. Exactly, Kishna. No gatekeeping allowed here. No gatekeeping. N- I will judge you, and that is one thing I will harshly judge you for. Everything else, whatever, but I will harshly judge you for it. And if you consider yourself a fan of SASCHA, then you will not gatekeep whatever fandoms you're in. You will, in fact, do the opposite and welcome people in and teach them about it and say, this is why I like what I like, and I think you might like it too. But if you don't, that's okay. You, we're not all Cybermen here. Don't be a Cyberman. Don't be a Dalek. Be a doctor. Tell people about awesome things and show them awesome things and encourage them in whatever way you deem necessary. Show them the great things, the bright things, the beautiful things, and even some not so bright and beautiful things, but whatever you like. Exactly. Be a doctor, not a Dalek. I believe in you, and I believe you can be a doctor. And people are not to be assimilated but encouraged. People are not to be struck down but talked with. People are people, and that's what makes them wonderful. And that's why the doctor fights for humanity so much. It's because the doctor believes in the best of humanity, just like I do. I like to think that we all have a little bit of doctor inside of us, and unfortunately, sometimes we all have a little bit of Dalek or Cyberman inside of us as well. And we must encourage, we must feed our doctor and lock away our Dalek. Aw, thank you, Kishna. That's very sweet of you. Um, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Um, and yeah, like be somebody's doctor. If you know a way that you can help somebody that will make their life better and won't make yours worse, then do it. Be a doctor. Go out and help somebody. Donate to a favorite cause. Pick up some pick up some garbage on the sidewalk, you know? If there's a way that you can make the world or your little corner of the world a better place, then try to do it. That's what the doctor does. Uh, Granted, on a much larger scale, and the doctor has a sonic screwdriver, but still, be somebody else's doctor and be your own doctor. Uh, and you know, it's the little things that can have big ripples in life. Uh, the thoughts you have can be translated into reality if you try hard enough. So go out there and be a friend, be a doctor. Uh, Encourage positivity. Um, be somebody's shoulder, their ear. Don't try to judge. Just try to be there. Be a good person. Don't be a jerk. Uh, don't tolerate uh, garbage from other people. If you see somebody that you can defend, then defend them. Stand up for good things. Encourage good things. Uh, Try to see the best in people. Uh, Try to see the best in yourself. Don't forget that you're important and you matter. You're the doctor has never met somebody that wasn't important. So go out there and tell other people how important they are, how they matter. Uh, do do a good deed if you can, for yourself or for somebody else. Uh, you can do good things. You can help people even if you don't see it right now. Give it some thought. Make a list. Go out there and see what you can do to help brighten somebody's day because You're just as important as anybody else. You matter. Your life matters. You Every little step you take can have ripples in the universe. And try to make your ripples good ones. Try to try to encourage that person you know. Try to create positivity where there might be none. Don't be toxic. Don't be garbage. Uh, Try to help yourself if you need help. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Um, yeah, I think that's the overarching, overwhelming lesson of Doctor Who. And I think it's, yeah, yeah. We're going to kill some bugs. No, we're not going to do that. Don't do that. Yeah, do your part. Be a good person. Be a citizen of the world. Be a friend. Be a family and create family. Defend people. Do good things. Uh yes. Awesome. And yeah, it's almost 4 o'clock. So with that said, I will bring this. Yes. Only good bug is a dead bug. Heck, we can do that one day if you guys want. I'll put it up as an option. Starship Troopers. It's a fun thing. But yes, anyway. Um, so yes, thanks for tuning in to my special unscripted uh, depression fueled Doctor Who ramble. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got to 300 followers today. Yay! Woo! Thank you to Anyway 737 for your contribution. Um, I will put it up. I will put Starship Troopers up as an option. I will put it up as an option on Twitter. Um, so yeah, be sure to vote when I do my poll, which I will do shortly after. You're very welcome, Keishnam. I really appreciate your tuning in as well as everybody else's. You're the best audience on Twitch. You're all wonderful, amazing, important people who all matter and are all important. Um, and please continue to be your awesome selves. Um, Thank you, Flora. I I really appreciate that. Um, and I love you all, and you all matter, and you're all important in your own special way, and that's you all matter. So keep that in mind, even when you're having a rough day, or especially when you're having a rough day. And go out there and help people if you can, if you're able to, and don't forget to help yourself as well. Um, be a doctor to yourself and to others. Be a doctor. Be your own doctor. All right, so schedule, schedule. Tonight, as the second part of our double feature, we will have Mal playing. I forget the name of the game. I'm really sorry, Mal. Um, Mal is playing a new game. Uh, what's it called? Uh, da, da, da. What's it called? I don't know what it's called. Oh, Flora, do you know what it's called? Dead Cells. That's it. Mal is playing Dead Cells tonight, so tune in for that. Tomorrow we will have Flora playing more Elden Ring. She may or may not be finishing it tomorrow, so tune in for some exciting salt mine fun, um, in which she may or may not yell and scream like a random person. Um, Thursday is Tactical Thursday with Mel playing more triangle strategy, so that's great. Friday is Elizabeth playing, I believe it's called Breath of Fire 4, and it has a cute cat boy with abs you could do laundry on, so be sure to tune in for that. Um, yes, the Cells of the Dead. Yes, Dragon Rages is always fun to watch. I love you, Flora. I believe in you. Um, Saturday is another Sasha show, but this time it will be Flora and I playing some cozy comfort Stardew Valley fun. So tune in for exciting mining adventures, in which we may or may not also have an Elizabeth, depending on if she's available or not. Sunday. I am not sure what we're doing on Sunday. I think that has to be decided. So tune in on our Twitter for that. It will be mentioned by someone at some point. Uh, yeah. Um, yes, Catboys. Catboys are priority always. Yes, Sunday is an unknown, so we will let you know at some point what that is. Um, Monday is more Flora, possibly playing Elden Ring, possibly another game if she is done. I do not know. Um, Whatever Flora ends up doing, tune in for that. It will be fun. And then back to Tuesday, where that is my off Tuesday because I am doing every other week for my Sasha Speaks. Um, but the Tuesday after that will be whatever is voted on. So yeah, um, tune in. Yes, yeah. Monday is mystery. Uh, so yeah, be sure to tune in. Not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday afterwards for more Sasha Speaks and another ramble about something or other. Hopefully, my depression won't be as bad, and I will be more prepared. But I actually think it went pretty well today. I'll admit, I was really scared. I wasn't sure if I could do it, but I did it. Yay! Uh, Hopefully, I will have more of a thing. Um, yes, please vote. I will put it up very shortly after the stream is done. But yes, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate you all. You're all wonderful, beautiful, amazing people. And now let's pick a channel to raid. Thank you, Flora. That's really sweet of you. I really appreciate all you guys. Um, I love everyone who tuned in. Thank you. Everyone who will tune in the future if you watch this VOD. So thank you for that if you do. Uh, do we have a choice for a raid? Does somebody want to spend their points? Because otherwise I will just pick a random person. So I will give you a minute or two if you have somebody that you want to be raided. And if not, then I will pick somebody. Yay, thank you for all of your bongos. I love you. Wonderful people, beautiful people. Thanks for tuning in. If I could hug each and every one of you, I would. Um, you're always a great pleasure to see. All right, I do not see any names popping up, but I see somebody, uh, one of our fellow VTuber friends, Nikkei Nada, who's done a lot of art for us. She's playing Resident Evil 5, and I love Resident Evil. That's another franchise I'm a huge fan of, so we will do that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. Um, I hope you all have an amazing day. And please tune in later for more fun with Mal tonight, playing Dead Cells. And yeah, I will see you all later. Bye.